All right, Fine Five, Ugly Five. 5 best, 5 worst teams in the league. Start at number 5.
All right, with the uglies, correct?
Yep.
I'm going to go with the Chargers again. And, look, I know Justin Herbert's fun as hell to watch. I know he's getting this team in certain areas late in the game, but they continue to fail. And it came down to the wire. Was it a catch? Was it not a catch? They celebrated as if they won against the Raiders, but it came out real late at the end. They are getting the opportunity, but they are not finishing the job, and it's happened a couple weeks in a row. I'm going to go with the Chargers with an ugly 5.
Yeah, they deserve probably to be in there, too. I was balancing between them. I went Washington, mainly because I like the quarterback with the Chargers. They at least found him, even though the team's not too good. The quarterback they found. Washington, not so much. Their quarterback, they probably were starting the 3rd best quarterback on the roster. Now he got hurt. They went to, instead of the draft pick that they spent a first-round pick on a year ago, they went to a guy who missed the entire season due to injury. So they're going to go with Alex Smith. Instead of saying, hey, we're 2-6, let's find out more about this guy that we drafted. It's a dysfunctional. It's still dysfunctional to make that kind of decision. Washington, number 5.
I'm going to go with the Patriots at number 4.
Wow.
They are just, and you know what? Maybe it's because we are so used to holding them to such a high standard. They still have, 3 wins on the season, so it's not as if they're this O-win team or 1-win team. But this Patriots team, they look horrendous. Cam Newton, what is his future? We don't know what he is. In the beginning of the season, you thought, oh my gosh, Josh McDaniels is going to be able to utilize his legs and he's going to be this insane threat. They almost lost to the Jets. I mean, seriously? So for that reason, I'm putting them in at 4.
I considered them at 5, but, I'm not quite there yet. I got Dallas at 4. They fought hard last week. I actually moved them because last week they were 2. I moved them down to 4 because they did fight hard in that game. They just came up a little short. They've lost 4 in a row. They're a -86. Team's a dumpster. Dallas, number 4. They earned it.
Number 3 for me is Washington, and you hit on a point I wanted to stress is you have a guy in Dwayne Haskins, and whether Alex Smith does something, doesn't do something, whether Dwayne Haskins does something or doesn't do anything, with Kyle Allen going out, you got to throw him in there and just see what you got.
Gotcha.
You're not even giving the kid the opportunity to really go out there and compete for the job, which is very unfortunate for him. He at least deserves the chance, and they're not doing it. Maybe they know more than we do when it comes to outside of the gameplay, whether it's practice or things of that nature, but come on, you got to figure it out. So they're my number 3.
I got Houston at number 3. I know they won, but they really struggled to beat Jacksonville. They almost lost to J.P. Losman. What was that guy's name?
Luton, maybe?
Jake Luton?
Luton.
Come on. It took a Herculean effort at the end of that game to beat Jacksonville with Jake Luton playing quarterback. Houston just having a rough year. It's one of those years. It started in the offseason when they traded DeAndre Hopkins, and it just has not gotten any better. They had to fire their coach. They're a -49, 2-6, the 3rd worst team in my ugly 5.
I went back and forth putting them in or not. I did not put Houston in. I went with the Jags at number 2. While they did fight with Luton, they stink. They are so bad, and they have no direction. And that's a major problem. They're my number 2.
Yeah, they're my 2 as well. They've lost 7 in a row. They somehow beat the Colts on opening day. They gave all that money to Nick Foles. They bailed on him already because they knew it took them forever to find out what a sane person knows, that Nick Foles stinks.
Brett Favre begs to differ.
1-7, horribly run franchise, 7 straight losses, -68. You're number 2 in my ugly 5 because you thought Nick Foles should be your starting quarterback. At least they cut bait. At least they knew to cut bait.
That's true. That's true. You got to give him props for that. And Jets are number 1. I'm sure they're your number 1. So I don't have Dallas in my 5 this week. I give them the credit for fighting against Pittsburgh. And I don't have the Giants in there either. So
they've lost 4 straight, Dallas. I couldn't get them out.
I know. I went for it. I gave them 1 week off. Let's see how they do next week.
Yeah, well.
Are they on the bye?
I had the Giants in last week. They fell out.
Well, it's because they look better. Joe Judge.
They won.
Yeah, they look better.
Washington took over their spot.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, find 5 best teams in the league. This is hard. I don't think there is 5 best.
If you can see how many scribbles I had, it's like, hold on, no, this team. No, I'm going to move them. No, I'm going to put this team in. A lot of thinking for the find 5. 5, Buffalo. I do think that they are like that's where I feel the league is. There's only a couple teams at the top that I feel have like a real legit, they are superstar type teams. As we get to the 5, I don't know if they have enough to really do that much, but when it comes to the Bills, they are continuing to win games. And Josh Allen, and we had John Clayton on, and he talked about Josh Allen. This looks like more of the September Josh Allen that you saw, and that's big. You need your quarterback play. I'm going to go with Buffalo with 5.
I went with the Saints at 5. Won 5 in a row. No Michael Thomas. I mean, think about a team that's missing its best weapon to win 5 straight, and now they're the 1 seed in the conference. I know we've been kind of like, I'm not feeling them, but here they are. Number 5 in my fine 5. Got to tip my cap to the Saints.
I went back and forth with the Saints and the Bills for my 5, so I kept the Saints out of there. I went with the Bills at 5. My number 4 is Baltimore. Now, their quarterback play is wonky. I'm not a big believer in Lamar Jackson to this point, but their defense, they make plays. I mean, if they need to get a big strip, they find a way to get that big strip. They strip Jonathan Taylor. They go down and score a touchdown. Their defense is ruthless, and they find ways to get some turnovers. They punch out every ball possible. It's amazing. I'm going to go with the Ravens at 4, but it's really because of the way that their defense plays. Even though their offense puts up points and they're getting records and yada, 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 the offense is missing something. The defense is key.
I went with Buffalo, number 4. They finally got a win against a good team. They beat Seattle, and they scored 44 against that team. So I'll give them credit there because they have been questioned a little bit on whether or not if they step up in competition, can they win one of those games? Well, they did. They played Seattle, and they scored 44. So there you go. 7-2, Buffalo Bills. I'll put them in there, number 4 in the fine 5.
My number 3 could be a little bit of a hot take here, but I'm staying with Seattle. Their defense is bad.
Real bad.
They just got blown up by Buffalo. But Russell Wilson is Russell Wilson, and I feel that him, DK Metcalf, Tyler Lockett, they can win you football games regardless of how bad the defense is, because we talk about it. Defenses are bad around the league. I know I just praised Ravens, but, throughout the entire league, a lot of defenses are bad, and it's an offensive game, and with Russell Wilson throwing the football, that's giving me a chance to win every single Sunday. I'm going to stick to my guns with Seattle, but I could pull the trigger on them shortly if they continue to have games like they did against Buffalo.
Number 3 for me, I went with Baltimore. Yep, in fact, I like this Baltimore team. I was interested to see on the road against the Colts, a team people said, all right, that's a good team. They kind of dominated that game. I know the quarterback isn't having the same year that he had the year before, which was a uniquely special year, but their defense is still really good. The quarterback makes enough plays. Baltimore, number 3.
All right, for number 2, I got Pittsburgh. Still undefeated, grinding their way through Dallas. Might have got some help when it came to a fumble call that went their way because there was some sort of illegal contact downfield, or whether it was Lawrence's hands that ended up hitting Big Ben in the face and they threw a pass interference call out there, or a roughing the passer call. But Pittsburgh found a way to get it done. Big Ben, though, he did go down. He went back to the tunnel. He came back. There is some sort of knee issue, I guess, going on. They did put him on COVID-19 list, but they're expecting him to be back. But the Pittsburgh Steelers undefeated, my number 2.
Yeah, I got him at 2 as well. Obviously, Big Ben makes a big difference for them. They were a up-and-down team last year with Duck Hodges as the quarterback. Mason Rudolph had to come in that game the other day, and you saw what would happen if he had to stay in that game. Roethlisberger came back in the 4th and led them back to beat the Cowboys after being down 19-9. Pittsburgh's got some issues. They got to clean up still. That's why they're not number 1, but 8-0 gets you number 2.
And Kansas City.
Fine 5. Kansas City. There you go.
Will they ever move from our number 1 this season?
Well, let's take a quick look-see. All right, what we got here. Kansas City.
But even if they lose, say they lose a football game, does that necessarily mean we're going to be moving them out of that spot?
Depends on who they lose to, what's going on around them, how well that team's playing. But here's what I see. Raiders, they lost that game to the Raiders at Kansas City. This game's at Vegas. Good game this week. At Buccaneers. It's a losable game. Broncos. At Dolphins. Like that Dolphins team.
Come on.
At the Saints. Falcons, Chargers.
All right, so you got a couple of tough ones in there, for sure.
They got a couple losses that they could run into.
Yeah, maybe three or so, like tough matchups.
Fine 5, ugly 5.